And yeah, when I run this code, let me show you what will pop up on the screen when I run this code. So this is what we have. We have label A, B, C, and we have around 8 columns. So what I want to help you to know and understand how to design this. We have here 2 columns. So I want to keep these columns at 2. Then the following column should continue at 8. 8 columns. We have 2 columns. Then I'll add another column here at 8. This and I want to help you do it in a stress-free way. It can be quite difficult to learn how to design a graphical user interface in Kivy. So as you know, here we have a method here. Let me freeze it. We have a method. We have a method here that defines the number of columns from the class myGrid, and this is the method here. Self.columns is equal to 8. So this is what gives us 8 columns here. It's quite complicated when you try to add rows in Kivy. Maybe self.rows, I don't know how that works, but even if it works, it will give you a lot of stress. So let me try and open and do something here that maybe will help you understand how columns and rows work in Kivy. So when you want to design when you want to design rows and columns considering aesthetics, and we want like our graphical user interface to look good, let's say we should know the maximum number of columns that we need in our graphical user interface. So let's say we have like this number of columns. So here we should know the maximum number of columns here, and this is we use this line. Let me show you this line. We use this line self.columns is equal to 8 here. That's how we get 8 columns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. When we add these labels which are taking 1 column, it becomes 8. So when you add a widget in Kivy, widgets go like this. They fill the maximum, the first row fully, then they go to the next row. So we fill this row, this, like this. Then they come to this row, the second row, like this. What if you only want to have maybe 2 columns? You want to have 2 columns here, then the following here to have 8 columns. We will have a space here that needs to be filled before we can go to the next row. Have a space here that needs to be filled, and that's something that can give you a lot of stress. Maybe if you're a beginner in programming and Kivy and graphical user interface. So I've found a way to do that. How we can do that? Let me show you. We can come here. We can come here and we can add maybe let's copy this and paste it here. Yeah, we are adding a widget labeled C and size hint Y none. So we have to remove this size size parameters. We have to remove them so that they can take the size of the cell. So that they can take the size of the cell, the size of the column, and the size of the row. So we remove these parameters. And let's run and see where this text will fall. When we run, we see this letter C appears here. Okay. When we copy, when you duplicate the same code and add it here, when you duplicate the same code, this letter C will come here. Let's duplicate and see. When we run, it has filled this column. Let's add another and see so that you can understand how these things work. It's added here. So it must fill the entire row so that it can spill to the lower row. But here I want us only to use 2 columns. In our graphical user interface should only have 2 columns. Then the following row can have 8 columns. That's what I'm trying to show you in this video. Okay. So let's add 2 more. Let's run. Now you can see it has filled all these columns. When you try to add let's try and add another C and see where it will fill. I try to add another widget and see where, and let's see its position. So let's run the current file. You see it's kind of messed up. Okay. So what we need to do, if we want an empty space here, where is it here? If we just want an empty space here, what are we supposed to do? We can create empty strings so that they don't do anything. They just fill up the space to help our graphical user interface look better. Yeah, and basically to help us in design. So when you run, you see it brings nothing, but basically there's some code behind here that maybe the person at the front end cannot see, but the person at the back end knows. What this line just does, it just fills up the space so that you can continue designing maybe another row below. That's simple. That's a simple way to do it. And so you want to add another row here of 8 columns. What do we do? So we have created here a space. We want to add another row of 8 columns below. We'll label it B. So let's come from here and maybe copy this. Control C. And let's paste that code we've just copied here. So we have here text label. Let's call it D. Let's run our code and see what it brings us. Yeah, you see now we have another row of 8 columns. So you can basically just do that. Maybe let's try and add one more row of maybe 1 column. So you can just come here. Since we know that the rows, we declare that we have 8 columns. Since we know that the columns are filled, the next widget or label that we add will go below. will go below, maybe will be E under the graphical user inputs, will go below. So let me just illustrate for you. Maybe it will be difficult to explain, but let me try and illustrate. Yeah, let's copy this. Let's copy first. Let's add maybe, let's add a label widget. Add a label widget. Let's label this E. Let's run and see what we get. You see we have a widget here labeled E. Yeah, and let's now add one text input field. Let's just add one text input field. Let's run and see what we get. Yeah, we get one box. Let's try adding another column. When you try adding another column, you have to remember one thing. When you try adding another row, when you try adding another row, you have to remember one thing. This space must be filled before going to the next row. So that's why you come here and we copy this empty string, add it on our code. Let's run and see we have to count the number of columns and no. This is it. Yeah, this is it. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. We come to our code. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We add one more. Let's run. You can't see anything but this code. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we can add maybe another widget, maybe F. Maybe F. Let's label this F. You can see I have another widget F. Let's add 3 input fields. Let's add 3 input fields. You can just copy 3 input fields. And when you run, we have added 3 input fields. Let's try and add so let's try adding here another row. So as you know, we must fill this space. Okay. Yeah, let's try adding another label named G. G. This is what you get. So basically that's it. All I'm trying to say is that you must fill a row first before going to the next row. Even if you're filling it with empty strings, that's okay. The person on the front end cannot see it, but the person on the back end knows what's happening. So yeah, that's it. I hope this video will help you a lot.